Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justin Davis and welcome to this edition of Drone Camps. We're going to review and give you a kind of a good and bad scenario of the Runcam 3. It's just coming out. If you looked on their website recently, they are shipping on April 10th. You can do pre-orders right now if you want to. You can check out runcam.com for this camera or check out the links below and check out some more information in the specs. But I'm going to go over a few things with you. You guys might be interested to know. Right away, you obviously see they changed up the format. It is that cube style camera. And why did they do this? Mainly because a lot of us are switching over to this cube style camera because a lot of people use the GoPro Hero Session 5 and the 4. Now, this is nice for a lot of reasons. Quadcopters in the last year have switched over to smaller cradles. No longer the Runcam 2 is fitting on there so well. If you have a long frame, style frame, like an H frame, this will fit just fine on that, most cradles. But if you're flying an X frame, and a lot of smaller popular quads don't have that. They don't have that option. They have a smaller center cradle with a little angle usually, so that you can get the best view while you're flying. Now the Runcam 3 does feature a lot of new features versus this Runcam 2, and I won't get into a comparison. I'm just going to tell you about what this one has. It does have shielding on the front of it. This is a coated lens on the front, and I believe they will be replaceable if you break them, because lots of us do. We have a bad day, we hit the concrete, the perfect angle, and break it. It does have a charging port on the side here, and I was able to get it charged in a couple hours, and it does run for an hour and a half while it's on. So it's not as long of a battery as something like a GoPro Hero Session, but then again, it's not $300. This one's $99. You have 155-degree angle field of view in the front of this, and that's nice because when you're flying through in between gaps and things, you can see pretty good field of vision side to side on this, and that matters a lot because a lot of us don't like anything over 160 degrees, because once you get out to about 180 degrees of field of view on this, it starts to get a real fisheye look to it, and a lot of us don't like that. But it features that same style push button on. If you press and hold it for a second, it'll turn on and activate. It does also have 2 speakers, so guys, if you want to record your motor sounds in your videos, you can do that too. Once it's turned on, you can connect it to your phone because it does have a Runcam app, and it uses the same app as what we had before for that Runcam 2. You just swipe over to Runcam 3 and connect to it. Press this little Wi-Fi button on the very back right here. See that blue light start to blink. Once that's blinking, you can go into your phone settings and go to your Wi-Fi, and you can connect to the Runcam 3. Just enter in the password. I believe the password is 12345678990. And once you connect, you're good to go. And you can start recording from the app, or you can press on the very top here. And I don't have a micro SD card in here at the moment, but if you press once, and you'll hear it beep, and it should start recording. Okay, now long press it again, and that'll turn it off. Okay, and we have a micro SD card port on the side here, so you open up that little flap right there. Now it's not waterproof, it might be a little bit water resistant, but it does look fairly durable. I think from the exterior, I'm not going to open this up, but I believe this is going to be pretty durable. Now, in my testing, I didn't crash. I was able to fly both the Hero Session 5 and the Runcam at the same time, so I could get you guys some proper footage so you could see a difference. But right away, the WDR on here, the wide dynamic range, and what that is color processing on here also for darks and lights and shadows and things, and it's way more saturated looking than like the Hero Session 5. So in my opinion, I think this has a better color saturation and brighter during cloudy days, and I like that a lot, that it does handle shadows really well. And a lot of older cams like the Mobius didn't handle shadows as much. Things looked a little muted, but this is probably one of the most vivid cameras that I've used. Even the Runcam 2 has really nice, bright, vivid colors, and I choose to use this one a lot because of that. It makes the video look really good. Even at 1080p, it does shoot 60 frames per second also, so that's also really good. 60 frames and 1080. GoPro Hero Session 5 is like $300. This is $99, and I feel like this video looks better because I like the brighter colors on this camera, and I think it shoots pretty well. Now the lens protector on the front of this camera, it is Gorilla 3 glass, and it's cornered and has an aluminum surround. It say it's 6000 high series aluminum alloy front box on here, so it is removable, and you can put a new replacement lens on there because they do actually offer these replacement pieces of glass on their website. If you look, you can get that as a spare part. So if you buy one of these, maybe grab a couple extra lenses just in case you smash yours. That way you won't be down from flying and filming. And for some of you guys that are new, I just wanted to set an X-frame on the bench that actually has a short cradle on it. It has a really small cradle here. You can fit a GoPro on here, but anything like the Mobius or the Runcam 2 is just not going to work. It's just going to hang off too much. And there's no other way to get those on these smaller X-frames. This is a 180. That's a GB 180, the GEP RC 180. So I put this Runcam 3 inside this protective case. This is one of those soft 3D printed cases that you can get, and it fits on there quite nicely. Now all I have to do is add my Velcro strap and I can go fly this. Now like I said, a lot of these quads do have these smaller cradles on there now. They just don't accommodate these longer style cameras. So I just powered it on for you, and I'm going to go ahead and hit that Wi-Fi button here, and I will get the Wi-Fi going on there. Once that is running, I'll go into the Wi-Fi settings on my phone and I'll select Runcam 3, and it should connect pretty quick. So I'll go back out here and we'll go over to the app. It uses the same app like I was saying, just that Runcam app. You can open it up like this. This is the one I want, so I can connect to my camera. And now I should get a live view on the Runcam 3. And you don't really want to use this as like an FPV view, but it does have a lot of options in here. You have auto white balance. You can choose custom white balance in there, and I have that set up to auto white balance. We have changes for the exposure values, so you can change that up or down depending on how bright it is. I'm going to leave it to 0 for mine. Press the check button when you're done. Also, the field of view, you can change that. You can change that field of view. That's pretty cool. So you can go medium, and you can also go to narrow. Narrow mode is nice for certain situations. I'm going to leave that on a maximum field of view there. So I'll put the check mark there and go back. Now we'll check out the average metering section, and we can change the metering section as well. If you wanted to change that to like center, you want to change it to spot, you can do either versions of those. I'm just going to leave it on average. Now we also have a few other options in here. We can flip the screen, and that's pretty cool as well. If you want to flip the image, if you put your camera on maybe upside down, you have it in your mount, and that's pretty cool. You can flip it left and right as well. Pretty nice. So automatically is also a nice setting because, like I said, if you put it on there wrong, you can just put it on automatic. I'm going to leave it on automatic. That way, if I put it on upside down, it will still work. And that's great for flying wings or other types of applications. Now let's go back here and change slow motion. We don't want that on. You can shoot in slow motion. That's kind of cool. And I have my frame rate set to 60 right now. 30 megabytes Mbps, and we have it set to 1920 by 80 there, and that's the maximum resolution that this camera does. You also can change up your Mbps there to down to 12. I'm going to leave it on 30. I can also change my frame rate back to 30 here as well, shooting that maximum range there. I can go back to 1280 there by 720. Or I can go to 1920 by 1080. Now I think I'm going to leave mine on the maximum resolution there and the maximum frame rate. But you can also do time-lapse videos on here. That's cool. You can do photos. You can put it in photo mode and only take photos with it. So it does have a dual purpose, this camera. You can use it as a sport cam, or you can use it for an FPV cam for recording your FPV flights. Now you also can do burst photo mode. That's kind of cool. So there's a lot of types of different applications this has. You can also go into your library and look at your previously recorded videos. This was one that I did earlier when I was working on some of my flight footage for you guys. And it'll buffer that for a second. And once it starts buffering, it'll play. And You can also download these straight to your phone, which is kind of nice. They do give you that option, so it'll want to access your photos. I'm going to say okay for now, but I'm going to stop that. So I'm going to go ahead and go back out of the library now and back to the main part of the app. Now, this one did crash on me. I'll be honest with you that the 3 did crash on me for some reason. When I was out in the field and trying to get some flight footage, for some reason everything froze up. I mean, the app wouldn't respond, and I couldn't press record or stop recording here to save my file that I was already recording. It's kind of strange. It did freeze up. Now, the way to get out of that and reset the camera is very simple. Inside the manual, it does say to hold down the power button and the Wi-Fi button at the same time, and it will forcibly turn it off, and then you can press the power button again and turn it back on. Now, I don't know whether that's an ongoing issue, but the cool thing about Runcam 3 is that it is updatable in 2 different ways. You can connect your camera to your smartphone or tablet, and you can do a firmware upgrade inside the app. That's pretty cool. And you can manually put a firmware on the micro SD card and put it in the side right here underneath this flap, and you can do it that way. So they're giving you 2 options for a firmware upgrade, but that's pretty cool. I think they're going to have a firmware upgrade coming up. I wouldn't be too concerned with it getting frozen or freezing up on you, but there is a way to get out of it if it does happen. Now, you also get in the box, you get a USB cable that comes along with it, and that just plugs into the side and plugs into any USB outlet, and you can charge up your internal battery. The internal battery in it is actually going to be a 960 milliamp battery, and that's going to be about an hour and a half at 1080, say 30 frames a second, or 1 hour at 1080 and 60 frames a second. So you also get in the box, you get some cables here for video out, and you can do that signal however you want to. You can also hook this up to a television monitor if you wanted to work on your OSD right there on the screen. And you also get this box of goodies here. I'll just go ahead and pull this stuff out. I love these Runcam straps. They're a little bit thinner, and now they also give you a wide strap in here too. So I get 2 thin ones and a wide in here. You also get some Velcro for maybe if you wanted to use some Velcro underneath it, just to give it some extra strength to hold it on your quad. I would do Velcro and a strap in my cradle if I were you. Now, you also get 2 more full-size straps. I don't know if Runcam put those in there just for me, but I have a suspicion that you'll get them too with your version. Those were also inside the accessory pack, so that's pretty sweet. You can also use those as a battery strap on your quad. Now, the 3 also has an automatic shutdown feature, which is really nice. So if I set my quad down and I walk away from it and I leave this on, like I have done a lot of times, it does have the automatic shut off feature. After a couple minutes, it's going to automatically turn off if it's not recording. So that's pretty nice. It won't happen while you're recording unless the battery dies. And the total takeoff weight of this camera is 66 grams. Now, I forgot to mention that it was PAL and NTSC switchable, so that's pretty nice. So if you're over in the European Union and you use PAL, you can switch for that. You can also switch for your TV out using this cable, and that's pretty sweet that they thought about the TV out, that most of us want to switch back and forth from NTSC European standard to American NTSC. Now, a lot of times when I get a new camera or a new product, the first thing I do is look at the user manual and I start studying about it, so I know what all the buttons are first and foremost. And on the first page, they show you that, which is really nice. It tells you your power shutoff button, camera status light, where both of your mics are located, micro SD card slot, the Wi-Fi status LED up at the very top that I showed you guys, the Wi-Fi switch button right here that turns the Wi-Fi on and off, micro USB port, and where that second microphone is located. There's one on top and there's one on the back. Now, when the 3 is charging, this little light on the top is going to flash red, and when it's all done, it's going to go out completely. This next page over here tells you about your micro SD card support. It supports up to a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. That's pretty sweet. Plenty of video on that, and you want to use a class 10 UHS-1 or UHS-2 micro SD card. You can usually get those at your local Walgreens. Now, they also have an application for Windows users. If you want to use this as your webcam, you can. There's an application right here listed in there. It's amcap.exe. If you download that and install it, you should be able to run this as a Wi-Fi camera or a webcam, and that's actually pretty neat that you can do that. But they do say in the manual, don't run this as a dashboard cam, because long periods of external power can actually damage the internal parts of the camera. Now, a couple of last thoughts about this Runcam 3 is I like the form factor. I think that all the buttons are easy to access. There's only 2 buttons on this, and it's pretty cool. There is also 2 microphones on there, which I like a lot. They've improved the WDR, the wide dynamic range, for light and shadows, and it's very, very saturated full color quality. When you see this footage, you're going to be pretty impressed, because up in the Pacific Northwest, it's usually pretty dark around here. So it was actually a sunny day when I went out to film with this, so I got lucky and I got a little bit of sunshine. So let's go outside now and let's fly this awesome Runcam 3.